Let's talk about Tokyo. You've got this incredible city where ancient shrines are literally standing in the shadows of neon skyscrapers. It's a place of wild contrasts, where the line between our modern world and, well, ancient folklore can get terrifyingly thin. And tonight, we're diving deep into a story that still haunts its very streets.
So, picture this. You're in the Shibuya district, way after midnight. All that vibrant energy has just faded. And what's left is this maze of narrow, winding alleys. The neon signs hum way up above, but down here, in these canyons between the buildings, the shadows are deep. They're absolute.
Imagine the silence. It's so quiet it feels like you can touch it. And the only thing breaking it is the sound of heels on the pavement. Click, clack. But then, you hear it. Another set of footsteps, perfectly echoing yours. So you stop, and they stop. And that silence just rushes back in, heavier than ever. We've all got 'em, right? The stories you whisper at sleepovers, the tales you tell just to scare your friends. But what happens when a legend refuses to just stay a story? Well, in Tokyo, one particular tale has a really nasty habit of stepping right out of the shadows and into reality. So much so that back in the late 70s, it caused a genuine citywide panic.
Our story kicks off with a young woman named Akara. It's late, she's walking home from a night shift through one of those exact alleys we were just talking about. The quiet is really starting to get to her, her heart's pounding, and that's exactly when her night takes a turn for the terrifying.
All of a sudden, her path is blocked. There's a woman just standing there, her face totally hidden by a surgical mask and long, dark hair. She's just unnervingly still, a dark silhouette against the glow of the city lights in the distance. Akara freezes. Every single horror story she's ever heard is just flashing through her mind.
The figure's voice. It's muffled by the mask, but it's crystal clear. It just cuts through the silence with one single, chilling question. Am I beautiful? Akara's blood runs cold. This is it. This is the question from the legend. The one you can't possibly answer correctly. Akara starts to totally panic, but just as she's about to scream, the figure bursts out laughing and pulls down her mask. It's her roommate, Anna. "I got you," she yells. Okay, it's a cruel prank, but man, what a relief. Turns out, Anna was just cashing in on the city's very real, widespread fear of the Kuchisake Anna, the slip-mouthed woman, to play a joke. The danger wasn't real. Not yet, anyway.
That relief, though, it doesn't last long. A few nights later, the roles are completely reversed. This time, it's Anna who's walking home alone after her shift, and the little joke she played is about to become her own horrifying reality.
Just like before, a woman in a dark coat and a surgical mask steps out of the shadows. Anna just sighs. She figures Akara is just getting her back. She's not scared, she's actually amused. She decides, hey, I'll play along, and gets ready to answer the question she knows is coming. The voice asks it again, "Am I beautiful?" Anna smiles, totally confident. "Yes," she replies, just waiting for the big reveal. "Yes, you are very beautiful." But the figure doesn't laugh. She doesn't pull down the mask to show a familiar face. She just stands there.
And then, the mask is lowered, and underneath it is not the face of her friend. It's a living nightmare. The woman's mouth has been carved open, this horrific, bloody wound stretching from ear to ear, pulled into this grotesque grin. In that single moment, Anna understands. This is no joke. This is the real Kuchisake Oana.
So here's the thing about the legend. Its logic is this cruel, impossible trap. If you say no, she kills you right there on the spot with a giant pair of scissors. If you say yes, like Anna did, she reveals her face and asks, "How about now?" Well, Anna, in a complete panic, screams, "No, you're hideous," and that seals her fate. The spirit basically declares that if she isn't beautiful, then nobody will be.
Anna's body is found the next morning, her face horribly mutilated. And she's only the first. Suddenly, a wave of these identical, brutal murders just sweeps across Tokyo. The police, they have no leads, no suspects, absolutely no motive. But the people, they know. The slit-mouthed woman is real, and she's out there hunting on their streets. So with the authorities completely helpless, the city starts to turn away from logic and towards lore. They realize this can't be the work of a person. No, this is an onyo, a powerful, vengeful ghost from Japanese folklore, one that's born from a really violent death. To figure out how to stop her, they have to first understand who she once was.
Her origin story is actually a deeply human tragedy. You see, she was a woman of just breathtaking beauty, but she was married to a man who was completely consumed by jealousy. In this awful fit of rage, terrified she would be unfaithful, he took a pair of scissors and brutally disfigured her, screaming, "Who will think you're beautiful now?" She died from her wounds, but her soul, poisoned by all that rage and sorrow, it just couldn't rest. It became bound to that one terrible question.
As the body count just keeps rising, a priest named Hoshuma decides he can't stand by and watch this happen any longer. He knows this is a spiritual battle, so he arms himself with holy talismans and salt. These are traditional items used for purification and protection, and he walks into the night absolutely determined to face the Kuchisake Onna and end her reign of terror.
Hoshuma finds her in a dark alley. When she asks her question, he doesn't answer. Instead, he starts chanting a mantra and throws the salt and talismans at her. She lets out this unearthly shriek and just vanishes into a cloud of mist. For a few days, the city is quiet. The killings stop. Hoshuma thinks he's won. But this was only the calm before a much, much more violent storm.
A few nights later, Hoshuma has this horrifying nightmare. The spirit appears to him, and her voice is just echoing with rage. "You deceived me," she hisses. "I have returned, and now the dance of death will truly begin." He wakes up in a cold sweat, and he realizes his actions didn't banish her at all. They just made her stronger. The threat had now escalated, terrifyingly. Before, she was this physical phantom, kind of bound to the dark alleys of the city. But now, she had evolved. She wasn't tied to any one place anymore. She could travel through any reflective surface. And that meant nowhere was truly safe. The danger was now literally everywhere. A young man named Masato was watching videos on his phone when the screen just suddenly went black. Her face appeared, and a moment later, she stepped right out of the screen. Others were killed through their bathroom mirrors, their computer monitors. People were being murdered inside their own locked homes. The city was in the grip of a new, completely inescapable terror.
Hoshuma is just horrified. He realizes that his attempt to fight her with spiritual force only fed her rage. He feels like this curse began with him, and he knows he has to be the one to end it. So, armed with a brand new plan, he returns to that same alley for one final confrontation. When she appears and asks her question, Hoshuma doesn't use talismans, he uses the truth. He's not speaking to the monster anymore, he's speaking to the woman she once was. He tells her she wasn't killed because of her beauty, but because of her husband's insane jealousy. He reminds her of the man she truly loved, the one who saw her inner soul, not just her face.
"You have become what your husband made you," he declares. "You are taking innocent lives. You are not beautiful, you are hideous." And as he says this, he holds up a consecrated, holy mirror. For the first time, the spirit is forced to see her own reflection. The bloodied, mutilated face, the monstrous form her rage has twisted her into. She lets out a final, agonizing shriek and just dissolves into a wisp of smoke, gone for good. So, Hoshuma saved Tokyo, the killing stopped, and the city could finally breathe again. But it leaves us with a really chilling question, doesn't it? When a legend is born from that much pain and that much rage, can its evil ever truly be destroyed? Or is it just waiting in the shadows for the right moment to ask its question one more time?